Hi, I'm John Steele from Softeon. In this week's Logistics Insights podcast, WMS and warehouse automation expert Mark Fralick talking with Bob Trebilcock of Modern Materials Handling magazine on a different way to think about warehouse execution systems. We'll discuss that interesting topic in just a second.
This podcast is brought to you by Softeon, providing innovative solutions for warehouse management, warehouse execution, and distributed order management. Softeon, delivering supply chain success every time.
Last week on Logistics Insights, we highlighted part of a recent podcast from Modern Materials Handling magazine featuring well-known editor Bob Trebilcock interviewing Mark Fralick, Chief Technology Officer at Softeon. The key topic, Fralick's view that when it comes to material handling systems, interfacing is easy, but integration is hard. Greatly summarizing, Fralick said interfacing is about the technical aspects of exchanging messages between a warehouse management system and the automation. Easy stuff with the kind of tools Softeon brings to the mix today. But integration, that's about getting the equipment successfully operating at scale with all the exceptions and other challenges you will encounter and delivering the expected ROI. That is a whole lot more complicated than getting the messaging protocols defined and implemented. We're back in this episode with an audio highlight from Fralick's interview with Trebilcock, after the editor asks Softeon CTO about the role of warehouse execution systems in balancing the flow of work across the DC. Let's have a listen.
Two last questions, two quick questions. I want to be respectful of the time here. Two quick questions. One is, there are some systems I've talked to who can also kind of rebalance the facility. They're looking at the flow through the facility and looking at, like, say, pack stations. And they know that pack station number 1 has a whole lot of stuff backed up. So pack station number 2 is kind of, underutilized, or the person inducting at this station, has got time, and the person at that station. So they're essentially pulling things through the facility. As you're explaining this, does it also allow you to balance the workload through the facility?
Yeah, I would say that, yes, absolutely. I think that, again, if you look at the two roles of a WES, many of them just use it for, interfacing to things. But the people that you're talking about that do that do what you described. That's the WES orchestration part. So that's hey, I can see the pack stations, and I can see that this pack station has less work than this, so it's balancing it. Again, I think that's a good use of the, WMS and the WES sitting underneath it, monitoring the pack stations. And that's certainly something that we do too. But again, I think that if you look at the visibility that WES has, it's just downwardly facing, right? It can see the pack stations and stuff. It can't see the fact that there's 26 new orders going to hit us in the next 15 minutes because it only is looking downward. It can't see that. So I think the next level of integration abilities that you're going to see as a bubbling that up to say, look, we have to look at projections and say, look, we might just leave those pack stations the way they are because we know in the next 5 minutes, 26 things are going to hit us, and no sense shifting things around, knowing that we're going to get these 26 orders coming through and we're going to rebalance it then. So I think that's the differentiation that we're seeing, is like, if you can move that orchestration up a little in the flow, I think you get in the flow of data, you sort of, in the vast majority of things that the WMS is doing, looking at things, you can actually get the data or get the facility flowing better in the long run.
A WES that looks both down and up. That seems like a good idea, enabling order fulfillment to be orchestrated at multiple levels, as Fralick explained. If you would like to hear the full podcast interview on the Modern Materials Handling website, go to mmh.com, then to the Resources tab, and then Podcasts. To learn more about Softeon's integration solutions, visit Softeon.com or attunedlabs.com. That's with 2 T's. After Softeon acquired integration firm Get Us ROI and its Attuned Lab software unit earlier in 2023. For Softeon, this is John Steele. Thanks for listening.